STARBORN. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. The title of tonight's show is talking about a lot of bright light because the title is New Horizons. And that is because today we are having a new moon at 4 degrees of Cancer. And ooh, it's a whopper for the good. And that's why all of us this next week, and perhaps throughout the summer now, can be looking toward new horizons for one reason or another. And that is because today we have a loaded new moon in Cancer. We have the sun, the new moon, and the moon rules Cancer. So it's actually even stronger than the sun when it's at home in the sign it rules. So we have the sun, the new moon, and Jupiter all at the same degree, 4 degrees of Cancer. And then later on in the sign, we also have Mercury in Cancer. So there are 4 planets there in that sign, and they're the only 4 that are in a water sign. But the important reason why you can be looking toward new horizons is because Jupiter is exactly conjuncting the lights. That's always wonderful. But Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. And so a planet, when the planet is in their sign of exaltation, they are acting for the good even better in that sign than they do in the sign they rule. And that's why all planets have a couple things going for them. They have the sign they rule, then they have the sign of their exaltation where they're really doing great, and then they have the sign of their detriment, which means that their good qualities don't come out quite so easily in a sign of detriment. And so this is a time when the Jupiter is exalted, and it's precisely conjuncting the lights, the sun and the moon. You can't go wrong. And so it would emphasize for the good all the things that Cancer rules. And even though the sign does not have any backup, there's nothing in Pisces and there's nothing in Scorpio, it is loaded enough all on its own. And Scorpio rules the home, the family. It rules the traditional 4th house of home and last half of life, and it rules agriculture and farming, ranching, mining. It rules anything to do with the food business, so it rules grocery stores, and it rules restaurants and good cooking, but particularly restaurants that the whole family can go to. And so people can congregate together. And Cancer also rules the United States, Ukraine, and Canada, but in the United States it rules Congress as well. And Cancer is often called the sign of the masses because Cancer rules large groups of people. So Cancer rules the unions. And so that's an important thing to remember as well. So all of those things are highlighted for the good right now. And even though these 4 planets are squared by 2 other planets, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which are very slow planets, that's not hurting them as much as it could. The power that's in Cancer is just overwhelming. You couldn't get better planets in that sign right now, which is great because we all live here in America and it's emphasizing America. And so the good news can be about perhaps a move or perhaps some sort of ending that you want to make right now. And why is that? Because above all, Cancer rules endings. And Cancer is a water sign. All the water signs rule our emotions and our feelings. And so people can be understanding their true feelings in their heart really well right now. We could all be having a little moment of truth about how we really feel. But also, because Cancer rules endings and it rules the last half of life, you're going to be encountering new horizons this summer as soon as something ends. And something is due to end. It's pretty good. Whatever it is, it's going to be ending. And so this is a year of false starts. You may come to the realization with a full understanding of your feelings that you may have made a false start in a relationship, or maybe a false start in a job, Or maybe you're deciding that, you want to make a career change, or you want to move to a different locale, or you want to do things a little bit more your own way according to how you feel now, which may have been different than how you felt in the past. And so this is a time when an ending occurs. It's certainly a beneficial ending. It will be for the best. And you could say, oh, I'm being laid off my job. You could think that was a terrible thing until you realize that you're suddenly free to go out and do what you wanted to. And your chances of doing that are absolutely excellent. So any ending is going to be rather beneficial right now. It'll be beneficial no matter what happens to the people that are involved in it. It will still be beneficial, and that's why, because the sign of Cancer is so beautifully aspected right now with these powerful planets, and Jupiter, which is exalted, that's one of the best planets in the heavens. I think that whatever ending is due to occur for each one of us in one way or another, it could be the ending of a job. Maybe it's a retirement you're considering. It can be that you're wanting to focus on some other interests in your life, and you feel that if you don't do it now, you'll never do it, so you might want to start off in that direction. That's why all of us may be going through an ending based on how we truly feel about something, but that is because we know we're going to be looking at new horizons, and I'm just telling you, this new moon is saying that whatever new horizon you are aspected to run into this summer, it will do you a lot of good. It'll be wonderful for you. And this new moon is the kickoff to a pretty great summer. And even if your life changes in ways that you didn't anticipate, or even if you're finally looking around, even in a relationship, whether it's in a family relationship or a friendship or some sort of enterprise or community group that you're interested in, if the thrill is gone, well then it's gone. But that doesn't mean that you have to stop. You can go be looking for new horizons, and this new moon says you're going to find them, which is wonderful. Now, there are some things to watch out for. Not very many, though, because, first of all, there's 4 planets in water signs, but they're all in only one, Cancer. And then there are planets trining each other in the earth signs, but there's not a lot of other activity going on too much among the other planets. The emphasis is really on the 6 planets that are in the cardinal signs of Aries and Cancer. So the Sun, New Moon, Jupiter, and Mercury are in Cancer, and they are all being squared by 2 very slow planets, Saturn and Neptune, which are also conjuncting. They're at 2 degrees, and the Sun, New Moon, and Jupiter are all at 4 degrees. It's a pretty close exact square. And so you could be disillusioned or disappointment if you had been anticipating a new beginning. Maybe it'll take too long. Maybe it's too expensive. Maybe there's some new beginning that isn't really new. It's just sort of a repeat of a past, of something in the past. Well, that's not what I'm talking about. This new horizon means something new to everybody. And so you can't go back in time is what I'm saying. And if you are trying to do that, you're going to have a slow uphill climb, and you might not make it. And that is because Saturn and Neptune are such slow planets, and they're in this sign, Aries, which is a dynamic fire sign ruled by Mars. They're not happy there. They're not working too well in that sign, and they're being squared by all 4 planets in Cancer. So you could be looking at delays or disillusionment as far as a home or family matter goes, or a move of some sort. Or it can be that there's a change in an organization, or a retirement, or some sort of layoffs in a job. And believe me, you got to look at the glass as half full, because that simply means that you're free to go out and look for new things, ones that you'd like more. And it looks like you could make it. Whatever ending is coming for all of us, each in our own way, it will be beneficial. It'll be for the best. And so that's why you have new horizons to look for. Okay, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. For you, Aries, it can be that you can feel like you're sort of navigating in the slow lane because you have two slow planets in your sign, Saturn and Neptune, and they're conjuncting, and they are getting hammered by the square from 4 wonderful planets in Cancer. So Aries, you could be wanting to exert your pioneering spirit, which you have a lot of, and you could be either knocking on doors that nobody answers, or you could be making suggestions to people who don't have the money to help you with them, or there can be some sort of delay or disappointment in a new start that you want to make, Aries. And there are no other planets in fire signs. And so, Aries, you need to really rethink what you want to do in the future. If it is truly new, and there is some other kind of ending that it turns out to be sort of beneficial right now and frees you up to do exactly what you want to do in the way you want to do it, then actually, no matter how long it takes, you would be headed in the right direction, Aries, because you'd be captain of your own ship. And Aries likes to be number one. Aries likes to be first. And if you get an opportunity to be involved in some sort of ending, just look at it as a golden opportunity for you to chart a course that is much more to your liking. And it could take you a little bit longer, but it could last a lot longer. You know, it can be, Aries, that you should just trust your own ability. And that's the end of the sentence. In other words, just count on the talent you've got and go forward with that. And, you know, I think you'd be doing pretty well. It would go slowly but well. Okay, it wouldn't be a flash in the pan. It would be each solid step leading to another solid step. So I'd give that a try if I were you. A new horizon that gets you a lot further, sort of on your own, than you can either by repeating the past or just following along, which is not really what an Aries likes to do anyway. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus. This is a time, Taurus, when you do benefit from a trine, a supporting trine to your sun sign. And that is because Venus and Uranus are still in your sun sign. Oh, and that Uranus is at the 29th degree of fate still. Isn't it a slow mover? And I need to tell you something about that 29th degree, because Uranus is going to go over that 29th degree, and by July 7th, it will head on into Gemini. But it won't stay there. It's only going to be there through the summer. I think it leaves and comes back into your sign, I think in September. So it'll come back over the 29th degree again in your sign, and then it will be in your sign for a whole year until next year, okay? And the reason why I'm telling you that it's on that 29th degree now of fate and heading into Gemini, and then it's going to turn around and come back on that 29th degree too, is because there are 3 blind stars in the heavens, at least according to the ancient wise men. And one of those blind stars is at the 29th degree of Taurus. And it's the financial sign, as you know. And it can be with Uranus, this malefic planet that's been sitting on that degree and is going to continue to do it until July 7th. You may have been a little blind to a financial situation, Taurus, that you may have thought was was wonderful, and that it was going to keep going in a wonderful way. Okay, and so you might be surprised by the fact that the costs could go up and become prohibitive, and they would be your costs. And it could be related to a health matter, because the planet that's trining your sign is Mars in Virgo, so it's trining Venus and it's trining Uranus. But Mars in Virgo is an indication of people who have health problems, either mental health, physical health, or psychological health problems. And if you have any health problem, you may not have, you might have been discounting that a little bit, taking it for granted, or thinking, oh gee, it couldn't get any worse, I can live with this. And instead, either it can get worse Although Mars is trining your sun. It may not get worse, but it could get a whole lot more expensive. You know, nothing could change except the price of whatever you're paying for that, Taurus. But it would go up, not down. And you would be shocked to find that out. You would be surprised. It would be as if nobody told you or something. And so you need to be real careful with your money and your investments, much more careful than you have been. It isn't enough just to read where the value of something every day as it's listed. You better ask yourself how long it's going to stay there. And in your own life, a Taurus likes fine things. A Taurus likes expensive things. And, you know, the prices are going to keep going up. And you may have reached a lifestyle that is perhaps less affordable than you thought it would be. And you could have been kidding yourself about how to pay for that. And now is probably a good time for you to just turn around and say, okay, if my health care costs go up, that's going to cost me money. If I'm looking at a job that can be ending soon for one reason or another, how am I going to afford everything? Well, you'll probably still be able to afford things because Venus is in your sign. But the problem is, well, your money's stretched far enough. And you don't know if it will or not. No matter how much money you have. Nobody controls the rest of the world. And if something unforeseen occurred and your costs were just skyrocketed, that could be because you were a little bit blind to the things that could cost you extra right now. You need to look all that over again. This is not a good time for you to spend extra money. And even though that Uranus, which is, remember, is a malefic planet, indicating sudden surprising change, even though it's going to pass off that 29th degree on July 7th and go into Gemini, I think by September it comes right back and passes over it again. And so you can't afford to be spending extra money is what I'm telling you, Taurus. And the reason why is it's Mars that's trining your sun. Well, it's good that it's trining your sun. That's better than squaring your sun. But on the other hand, Mars in Virgo simply means, since it rules accounting, you could have made accounting errors that you didn't think you made until your bank tells you the bad news or somebody else tells you the bad news. So you need to look everything over much more carefully. Sorry I'm going on about that. But I just thought, gee, I haven't mentioned that that's a blind star, and there's a malefic planet on it. I should have mentioned that sooner. I'm sorry. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini. This is a time, Gemini, when there aren't any planets in your sign anymore. Wait a minute. No, there aren't any planets in your sign anymore. And so it's that they've moved on. Your ruler Mercury is right ahead of your sun sign. It is in Cancer, and it is joining the sun, the new moon, and Jupiter, which was in your sign too, and it's moved in there at 4 degrees of Cancer, which is very close to your sign. It only came in 4 degrees of Cancer. It's got 26 more degrees to go. And so, Gemini, if you have been involved in something that Cancer rules, such as a move or a summer project that you're anticipating to remodel something or redecorate something where you're working around the home or the yard or in your neighborhood, you could be delighted at the prospect of that. Now, I didn't say it wouldn't be work, Gemini. I just said you would be delighted. And also, you're going to be looking at more summer fun than you're anticipating right now. And part of that is because your sign, for many, many years to come, has continual support. This is only happening in the air signs, because the slowest planet in the heavens is Pluto. And Pluto is in Aquarius, the sign of the future, trining your sun. And it's going to stay that way for about 15 to 17 years. And you know, that's a long time, Gemini, but that is a tremendous amount of support. Pluto represents people who are influential in upper management, in large corporations, government agencies, or institutions. Or they could be people in your own community or at work, where you work, and they would like you very much, and they're not changing their tune. They're going to keep liking you for a long, long time to come. And they may have been thinking over, they may have been doing some, what you might call advanced thinking about you. And by that I mean, since Pluto is retrograde right now, and has been for a while, they may have been going back, and this would have been while Jupiter was in your sign, and the Sun as well. They may have been going back, say in the last month or couple months, and just thinking about you and how your talents or your attitude or the way you conduct yourself, your personality, something like that, would fit in their organization. You know, Pluto represents people who are in organizations, but they're sort of high up. And since it's trining your sun and the Libra sun, this is true for Libra as well, influential people can be looking at the way you do things, and they've been liking that. And I think that they're looking for a way to include you in their group. And they're going to do it, Gemini. Even if you were a new hire in a company, they would have done some thinking about you already. And they would be sort of, you know, guiding you into what they wanted you to do. With the best intentions. That would all work out quite well. So even if you're just talking to your neighbors or working on a project with a bunch of workmen or something like that, it's going to be delightful. And so the best of luck, Gemini. You've had a good year, and if you don't think so, you should try to review it again, because Gemini rules change, but it is easy transitional change. And sometimes, since Geminis are so versatile and adaptable, and a change is no big deal to them, they do it all the time. You may not have noticed that your life has improved. Maybe you never slowed down to stop to think about it, but it has improved in several ways that you did not anticipate earlier. And now it's improved. Maybe it's time for you to stop and count your lucky stars. Be thankful about that. Good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Oh, Cancer, congratulations. This is one of the best new moons you're ever going to have in your life, Cancer. In fact, it's so strange that the planet that's in its exaltation is Jupiter, and it's in your sign, where the Sun and the new moon are. The moon's your ruler too, and the Sun is there and Jupiter's there, and they're all in absolutely perfect alignment. They're all at 4 degrees, you know, just like 4, 4, 4. And I wonder when that would ever so precisely happen like that again. I just wonder. It's very unusual. But because Jupiter is in its sign of exaltation and it's conjuncting the lights, and one of those lights rules your sign, Cancer, the moon, which is the stronger one of the two, between the moon and the sun. The moon is now stronger since it's at home in your sign. And Mercury is there as well. You may have been spending a little bit of time. Mercury is coming near to the end of Cancer. So it's been in your sign for a while. It's a very fast mover, but still it's been in your sign for a while. You may have been thinking about moving, or thinking about how to change your base of operations, or thinking about consolidating. You know, some people are going to be consolidating because they are facing retirement. And they don't really need to have as many contacts out, or they don't need the things that they needed when they were working, because they're not going to be as busy anymore. And this can be a time, believe it or not, Cancer, when you may want to unload a few things. And in order to streamline your life and make it a little simpler. And Cancers like simple things. They really do. And they like good home cooking. And so I don't think you're going to sacrifice that, Cancer. And if you are at home and you're working around the home, or you're tending to family matters, they are, and there's anything that's problematic, it will work out. And it'll work out without you having to do anything, Cancer. It'll just work out. Jupiter is exalted in your sign. Jupiter is going to help you out with that. It may be that any tension that has been in the family has been because people have been sort of antagonizing each other or wanting different things, or there's been arguments or confrontations. And somehow that's going to work out to where people go their own ways in ways that are ending all of that confrontation. And so it's a beneficial ending because they can go in ways that make them feel better toward new horizons, and that will free you to do the same thing. And you're going to be able to do that. There's an ending coming up, Cancer. If you don't know about it already, it's right on your doorstep. And it is what I would call immediate. In other words, it's just going to end. It can be something that's been going on for quite a while. And it's just going to end. And as I said, it's beneficial for everybody. That'll be a worry off your mind. You won't have to worry about that anymore because somebody's going to go their own way and seek a new horizon that's just right for them. And so that's good for you. It leaves you free to do a little bit more of what will make you happy. And that's the way it's going to end for everybody, Cancer. This new moon is going to have the effect of us looking deeply into our heart, to our feelings, which is what your sign rules, and asking ourselves who we really love, what we really love doing, and where we'd like to do it. It's your sign rules the home, but a lot of people get so busy in their lives they never think about coming home to what will make them happy. And that's exactly where you're going, Cancer. You don't have to ask anybody for anything. You don't have to ask permission. You don't have to discuss anything with anybody. You just ask your heart where it wants to be. And that's where you're going to end up. And as I said, whatever else ends is going to be not only beneficial for you, but beneficial for somebody else as well. Everybody's going to be happy with their endings because it'll free them up to seek new horizons that are much better suited for them at this time in their lives. And that includes you too, so congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time, Leo, when I think that there can be an awful lot going on in the background of your life. And the reason why is that those 4 planets in Cancer are right behind your sun sign. The Sun, the new moon, Jupiter, and Mercury today are all right there. Mercury is it's at, I think, 28 degrees of Cancer today. It's just about to come into your sign, Leo. That'll get you thinking even more. So I think in the background of your life, Leo, you're planning for a change, or you want a change. And it's not to go back to yesterday. It is to go to somewhere that will make you feel better today and in the future. And we all change. And you know, people can say, oh gee, I had a really good time doing something. Like a lot of people will say, oh, I had a great time in college 20 years ago. Well, because they were having fun. And but they can't go back to it. Even if they went back to take a class, they're 20 years older. I mean, it's not the same. And so that's what's going to be happening to you too, Leo. Your sign does have support. Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which rule new beginnings, are trining your sun. And that means that some new beginning that you may have had on your mind for a very long time, and you could have always put it off, or made excuses, or been doubtful about it. And now you can be looking at it and saying, well, I don't care what kind of challenges I have to face, I'm going to do it. And you should, because Saturn, which is a planet of delay and obstruction, but also of great persistence, it is in Aries, trining your sun. And you need to take advantage of something that requires a lot of hard work from you and is just perfect for you. And there will be no easy way to achieve it. You'll have to work for it. And there's going to be nothing stopping you from achieving it, no matter how long it takes. you will achieve it. I would get on it while Saturn is still there. And Neptune is trining your sun as well. You may come up with innovative new ideas that you've never had before. Remember, the show is called New Horizons. That's what you need to be looking for, Leo, because New Horizons are looking for you. Those planets in Aries trine your sun. And so, go for it. But don't go back to yesterday. It won't do you any good, because you're not the same age, and neither is anybody else. And times have changed, and the world has changed. And people have serious thoughts on their minds. Well, you do too. And one of them could be about a serious new start that you've either always wanted to do or been doubtful about. Maybe you didn't think that you qualified for it or something like that. Well, just get in and take just one step at a time, Leo. Journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Only with Saturn and Neptune trining your sun, you're going to be able to take 1,000 steps. And they're even if they're hard work, you're going to make it. You'll make it to the end of your journey. So keep going. But the only road you're going to be on, Leo, is your own. We all have to be true to what's in our heart. So do your best. All right, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, I have to apologize a little bit for last week, because last week I did something that in over 1,600 shows I never did before, and I apologize because it affected your prediction. It is that I wrote too much into the opening, because it was talking about opposite sides of the fence, and there was a lot going on one side and a lot going on the other, and there was too much information there. And I think I had information overload because I was telling you in your prediction that Uranus and Venus were squaring your sun from Taurus. And no, they weren't. They were trining it. So I apologize for that, Virgo. There's no prompters here or anything like that. The whole script is memorized, and I mess up sometimes. So I'm sorry, but what I did say in your prediction last week, I did mean. I just was talking about the placement of the planets, but when I talked about what that meant, I did mean that. And so I hope now, this week, Virgo, you are realizing that if you were extremely patient last week and you sort of zipped the lip and you didn't say what you wanted to say to a lot of people, you could be breathing a sigh of relief right now. And that could be because you even without quite realizing it, you may have encountered sort of a bumpy path or a bumpy road at time in the last week, and I think you just sailed right through it. I think you did okay. And that would have taken a lot of work. Congratulations, Virgo, because Mars is in your sign. But it is being tried by Venus and Uranus in Taurus. So if you had been paying particular attention to financial matters, because these planets are trining your sun, you could have been working extra hard on the books, because your sign rules accounting, and you could have been looking around at your investments or your money or the costs of your life. Just that, all jobs have costs, and so do our private lives or our family lives. Everything costs. But you could have been going over everything, and Virgo, there is the possibility that after a careful review of your accounts and the books and everything, an idea, a costly, like an expensive idea that you had in the past that you may have wanted to do, and you're sort of wondering, oh, could I afford this? You may have, if you had been pretty quiet this last week and just working on all your own figures, you might have been shocked that this is a time when you can afford something that you might have given up years ago, because at that time maybe you couldn't have afforded it. And now you could be looking at something that you can afford. And the shocking revelation about that all is that you may have been handling your money and your investments and your overhead and everything well enough that you are in a position now where you can not only afford something that you had wanted before, or afford to do something that you'd wanted to do before, but it isn't going to hurt you at all. It's not going to take a big bite out of your budget. You must have been handling your money where you have something that's been doing pretty well, and all you have to do is take that income from that and apply it to something that you always wanted, and you could be, that's your new horizon. But it's because something's ending, and what is ending is a period of time where you've had to watch every penny. I don't think you need to do that anymore, Virgo. Virgos like to worry. They like to worry about money. They worry about everything. They're good at that. Your sign rules facts and details. And so you might have been surprised this last week, particularly if you're being quiet and not saying anything to anybody with Mars in your sign. You might be surprised just to see, oh, that's earning enough money for me that I can afford to do this. And I think that's where you are, Virgo. And if I'm proving to be wrong at this moment, go check your figures again, because I think it's true. There's something that's generating enough income that you could afford to do something you'd wanted to do long ago at a time when you couldn't afford it, but you can now. So congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, Pluto in your sign, Pluto in Aquarius is trining your sign just the way it's trining the sign of Gemini, and your sign doesn't have anything in it, but that Pluto is going to be trining your sun sign for years and years. And that means that people in high places are going to be attracted to you, and it will be favorable. They will have a favorable impression of you. And Libras are pretty careful with their public image. They like to look nice in public, and they're pretty careful about that. And they like to present themselves in a mannerly and pleasing way, sort of light, able to talk to anybody, and not be too strident about anything, not be pushy or anything like that. Libras are somewhat unusually tactful. They may think a hard thought, but it doesn't come out of their mouth that way. It comes out, even if something has to be said sort of straight on, they find a way to do it sort of as if you can swallow it. And not everybody has that particular talent, but you do, Libra. You can find a tactful way of saying something, or you can find a way to sort of, work with somebody on things. And you're really good at that. Okay, so that is extremely attractive to people who are thinking about the future, and they want new management in their organizations that can get them on the road toward the future, and nobody's been on that road. It's a new horizon. And what they know for sure, even though they don't know what they're going to encounter on the quest for their new horizon, they know they're going to need people like you, Libra, that can sort of soften the rough edges all the way through. That's what you do really well. I think Libras do that without even thinking about it. I envy you. And so you're going to be in demand, Libra. And you're going to be surprised at that. You may think to yourself, oh, what is she talking about? Because after all, the 4 planets in Cancer, which is a cardinal sign, and yours is a cardinal sign too, those 4 planets are squaring your sun, and the 2 planets in Aries, Saturn and Neptune, are opposing your sun. So there are 6 planets in cardinal signs in harsh aspect to your sun sign, Libra, and to the Capricorn sun. And that is still not going to take away the effect of this very slow planet, Pluto, which rules deep truth, trining your sun for so long. You could, if you're thinking to yourself, well, I've got the next 20 years planned. I know what I'm going to do for the next 20 years. Well, one day you're going to wake up and find out that you're not on that road anymore, Libra, because there will be people that will want you to go right into the future with them. And you should. You should. You're going to have the backup of influential people for at least the next 15 to 17 years. And if you turn down offers, why would you do that? Why would you close the door to a great future? Don't do that. If somebody's opening the door and inviting you in, say yes. You can try it out. If you don't like it, you can leave. But what if you do like it? And they already like you or they wouldn't invite you. Okay, stick around. New horizons. That's what this show is about, Libra. You're going to be walking into one, even with 6 planets in cardinal signs squaring your sun sign. And that is because the power of that one planet, Pluto in Aquarius, is in continual trine to your sun. And that's not going to be broken. No matter what the delays are, it won't be broken. You'll always be able, particularly for years to come, if you ever need to go to somebody who's influential, you'll be able to do it. And they'll listen to you. They might have been waiting for you to talk to them, tell you the truth. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio. Finally, Scorpio, there are planets in water signs. And you couldn't ask for better ones than the sun, or than Jupiter, the sun, and the new moon in Cancer, all at 4 degrees, and Mercury there as well. And they're all trining your sun. You and Pisces are really benefiting from this new moon today. And that is because Cancer does rule endings. But they're generally nice endings. With Jupiter there, they're going to be endings that are beneficial to whoever's going through the ending. So if you're going through an ending, Scorpio, or somebody you know is going through an ending, you can wish them well, because it's going to be a good one for them. It's going to be better for them than if they'd stuck around. And so at the same time, you could be looking at an ending in your life, Scorpio. This would not be an ending for any bad reasons. Now, your sign rules patience. Last week, we all would have had to go through and be very patient because times were tense. But since your sign does rule patience, it can be that there have been extenuating circumstances, or it can be that you yourself have been scattering your forces in different directions, and it's a little hard to accomplish a goal when you're only working on it part-time. And then you move to something else, and then you move to something else, and then you move to something else. Nothing gets accomplished. It all sort of keeps going, but it isn't really going anywhere if you leave it alone. And so there can be, if that's the way you've been operating, Scorpio, that may be the ending that's occurring. There's an ending occurring for everybody because Cancer rules endings, but it's a beneficial ending. It's good for you, it's good for everybody else. It may be that you decide to focus in a sustained way and according to a schedule or a timed period when you say, okay, this is my goal for this time. So you may be cutting down your goals a little bit and saying, well, I'll just take this step, and when I finish that, I'll take the next one and finish that, and so on, but always heading higher, higher, and higher. And at the same time, since Cancer rules our emotions, and your sign is a water sign too, Scorpio, it means that we are all coming home to what is really in our heart, to what or who we truly love. And you're going to have the opportunity to do that too. And it will be very satisfying to you. And so, Scorpio, well, will the bells and whistles go off? Oh, will there be fireworks? Oh, will there be a big display? Not at all. That isn't the way a Cancer works. And the new moon's in Cancer. It will be pretty wonderful, this new horizon that's out there for you, Scorpio. But it might be more quiet than you think. And It might involve private things that you treasure. And maybe you'd like to do that a little bit at a time or slowly, because they're so nice, so pleasurable, so precious to you. Your sign rules secrecy. Scorpios never tell anybody everything. They just don't do it. And Scorpios have a very good way of knowing when to keep their mouth shut. They just know that. And so you can be going along, and I think instead of scattering your forces, you may be deciding to come home to what you know in your heart is really going to make you happy, probably for the rest of your life. And it's not going to be grand and glorious and gaudy and extravagant or anything like that. It's going to be home, straight to your heart. And you're going to love it. So good luck, Scorpio. A new horizon is just what you need. And it's coming your way. So congratulations. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius. This is a time, Sagittarius, when there are not a lot of planets in the fire signs, but there are two of them, and it's Saturn and Neptune that are in Aries, trining your sun. They're both at only 2 degrees. They're conjuncting each other, which compounds their power, but their power is distinctly different. Saturn is the planet of hard work and never skipping steps and being very disciplined and having to do it all the right way or else do it over. And being persistent. And so Saturn rules time. And rules if you make a mistake, you got to go back and fix it before you can go on. That's the way Saturn works. And then Neptune is sort of the opposite. Neptune rules dreams and aspirations and hopes. And it rules the ability to endure tremendous pain or degradation, or lots of things that go wrong, and still survive it in one way or another, still rise above it. And so these two planets, neither of which work well in a sign ruled by Mars, which is Aries is ruled by Mars, these two planets are naturally going to set up delays or disappointments or roadblocks or, whole lot of things that can get in your way, Sagittarius. Same thing with Leo, certainly same thing with Aries, because they are not fast movers. And they require that you do everything right, and yet at the same time be creative and illusionary as well. It's sort of hard combination there. And so they trine your sun, Sagittarius. That means, if you don't mind me whispering in your ear, if you reach a point in these next, say, 3 or 4 years, where there are delays or there are disappointments, or you think that you've got something that you really understand and you can do it, and it turns out it's 10 times harder than you thought and it's going to take, a lot longer, stick to it, Sagittarius. These planets, they're not exactly great for anybody. They're not working as well as they could in other signs, let me put it that way. But they do trine your sun. And no matter how hard it gets in the next, let's just say 3 years, no matter how hard it gets for you in the next 3 years, there's not going to be anything impossible. It might be real hard, but it's not going to be impossible. And that's because Saturn is going to be continually trining your sun. It goes back into Pisces this year for a while, but it's really headed into Aries. And when it's in Aries, it's always going to be trining your sun. It will not let you down. And so don't you quit. No matter what's staring you in the face, keep going. And if there's a delay and somebody thinks, oh, I got this person beat, that's a big mistake. They don't have you beat. You might be taking a time out. Well, okay, everybody's entitled to do that. But if you have your eyes on the prize, Sagittarius, in the next 3 years, I wouldn't take my eyes off it for anything. How are you going to achieve it if you don't keep going? And you can. That planet's been squaring your sign for the last 3 years. Now it's trining your sign. That's a big difference for you. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, Capricorn, there are 3 planets in the earth signs trining each other. So that's the good news, Capricorn, because Venus and Uranus in Taurus are trining your sun, and so is Mars in Virgo. And so if your healthcare costs suddenly go up, which they may for a lot of people, you might have the money to pay the higher costs. That might not be too bad. Venus is trining your sun. But on the other hand, there are other things going on that will require you to rethink a personal agenda of yours, Capricorn. And the reason why is because today's new moon, which is fabulous, has the sun, the new moon, and Jupiter all at 4 degrees. And Jupiter's exalted there, and the moon rules the sign, and Mercury's in the sign, and they all oppose your sun, Capricorn. And they square the Libra sun, and they square the Aries sun, and they are being squared by Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So there are actually 6 planets that are squaring and opposing your sun sign right now, Capricorn. But there are another 3 that are trining it, remember, in Taurus and Virgo. And so if I were you, I'd try not to take too many wrong turns this week. In other words, don't get experimental and try something you've never tried before. It could be a wrong turn. Instead, stick to things that make a lot of sense, and particularly watch your money. That's because you should be doing pretty well with your money right now. And it might be, Capricorn's sort of like a bargain if they can find it. And they have a very good eye for things that are more valuable than they look like. So they could go to a garage sale, or they could go to a charity auction or something like that and pay pennies on the dollar for something that is actually much more valuable than what they paid for it. Capricorns are really good at finding things like that. They just have a wonderful eye for value, and they know it when they see it. And that's amazing. And so you should stick to things where you could look around, and even in your own home, Capricorn, if you're looking at things that don't have a value for you anymore, then what in the world are you doing with them still? Why don't you say goodbye? You know that the moon, all the 4 planets in Cancer are opposing your sun, and Cancer rules the home. If you went around and did a little house cleaning this week and decided that you could share some of the things you own and pass them on to other people that could use them, do you realize this is probably a pretty good time to do that, Capricorn? Because you could be opening, you'd be ending some memories from the past, or you'd be looking at things that represent the end of a job or of a lifestyle or of a place that you used to live. But on the other hand, if you get rid of those things, then what you're looking at is tomorrow. Then all you're looking at is whatever you have left is your future. And since you're going to live a long time, Capricorn, nobody can live in the past. Even if they love the past, they can't live there, because we all grow older as time goes on. And there is this saying, older is better. And particularly for a Capricorn, it is. So your best years are still ahead of you, Capricorn. And if I were you, I would take whatever you've got that you've kept forever, and if all you're doing is having it take up space, why don't you let someone else enjoy it? Maybe they have a better use for it than you do now. And so let them, give away some of your stuff, Capricorn, or share it with others. Let it go. And what you've got left is your future. And since you're going to live a long time, you really should be looking at that. particularly with Pluto in Aquarius right ahead of your sun sign, and Aquarius rules the future. So you need to get ready for it, is what I'm saying, Capricorn. And it doesn't have to cost you any money, but it could cost you the time it takes to sort through things and say, what am I still doing with this? And just give it away. Someone else will treasure it. You're giving a new home to somebody, or something that will go in a new home. Who knows? Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is a time, Aquarius, when I think that you need to stick to what you know is right for you. Now, everybody really has to do that, because with this new moon in Cancer today, we all need to come home to what's really in our hearts and admit how we really feel about things. This Cancer rules our feelings, and it rules endings. So this is a new moon that is indicating there are new horizons out there for everybody, including you, Aquarius, but they're there because of an ending. Because people who go through endings right now are actually going to go through very good endings. How could you not? Jupiter's in that sign conjuncting the lights. I don't know the numerical probability of that ever happening again, but boy, it's got to be rare. And so this is a time, Aquarius, when you need to sort of face the truth about what you really want in your future and who you want to share that with. Because yours is a fixed sign. And there are two planets in fixed signs squaring your sun, where you have Pluto. And they are Venus and Uranus, your own ruler, which is at the 29th degree of fate in Taurus. And so what you have to do, I think, that would benefit you right now, Aquarius, is understand, like, you don't even need to look in the mirror. Look inside yourself, okay? Just look inside your own heart and ask yourself, how do I feel about what I'm doing right now? And I have a feeling that you might be feeling sort of proud of what you're doing right now. It might be something that you never thought you could do, but you're doing it. Or you're thinking that you're getting prepared to do something that you've never done before. In other words, with Pluto in your sign for the next 15 to 17 years, the world is your oyster, Aquarius, as long as you're looking at the future, not the past. As long as you go forward. Now, you could be going forward with something that you've had on your mind for a long time, but that you have not actually accomplished. But you could be getting ready to accomplish it. You could have polished your skills. You could have learned new skills, particularly when Jupiter in Gemini was trining your sun for a whole year. You could have had opportunities to sort of branch out in new directions in this last year. Well, you know, that represents new horizons, and you need to follow up on some of those things. Right now, I think that an Aquarian's mind is sort of full of ideas, or would be, if you just, you know, ask yourself what you'd rather be doing, Aquarius. That could open the door to your future. And there isn't anything in Leo opposing your sun sign anymore. Mars has moved on now. And Uranus is about to move on. It's your own sun sign ruler. But after July 7th, it won't be squaring your sun anymore. It'll be trining your sun. This summer, you need to zoom forward, Aquarius, while your own ruler, for the first time in many, many, many years, is actually trining your sun. It won't stay that way. It'll only be there for about 3 months. But you got to get ready, sort of like as if you were going on a trip, or starting the quest for a new goal. Something where you got to sort of climb higher. Well, boy, do you need to get on that road either before or by July 7th. Which is when Uranus goes into Gemini and begins to trine Pluto in your sign. And it's going to start doing that exactly the minute it gets in Gemini. Pluto's only at 3 degrees, and it's going back retrograde. So you've got something pretty great ahead of you, Aquarius. It's coming up this summer. How ready are you? And What are you doing about it? Are you out there looking for new things? Or are you hanging on to something that really needs ending because it's old and boring? Because if it is, that's not for you, Aquarius. Not for anybody who's as creative as an Aquarian is. Aquarius rules invention. Nothing wrong with you inventing something new, Aquarius. The world could probably use it, so good luck. What does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces. This is a time, Pisces, with so many planets in one water sign, Cancer. It simply means that the Sun, the new moon, an exalted Jupiter, and Mercury are all in Cancer, trining your Sun, Pisces. And it's wonderful for Scorpio, and it's wonderful for you. And it simply means that there is an ending coming. It may have already occurred. Perhaps, Pisces operates in a way where they almost feel something before they even see it. They're so in tune, Pisces is so in tune with sort of an inner feeling that they've got about a lot of things, that they sort of know it. And so if you have been thinking that there was some sort of an ending coming, it may not even be a drastic one. It could be just a change in a schedule, or it could be something like a change in the direction that you want to go, or a change in how you spend your time. Maybe you don't want to drop everything, but maybe you just want to concentrate on something else a little bit more right now. So that would equal some sort of a change. And you can do it, Pisces. But there is a little thing you have to do first, Pisces. And with the Sun, new moon, which are the lights, and Jupiter, which is exalted, and Mercury, the planet of the mind, trining your Sun, you need to ask yourself what would really make you happy, and who would make you happy, and where you would like to be in order to share that happiness. And you need to get there quick. That's your new horizon. Even if you were going back to somewhere that was familiar from your childhood, you're a new person now. You're not the same person. We're like that every day. Every day is a new beginning. And so you need to ask what's really in your heart, and who is in your heart, and where you want to share your time with that person. So I'm talking about a location too. Cancer rules homes. And so, you need to come home to something, Pisces, and to someone. It's not just a place. It's a person too. And it's not from your past. Wherever you lived before, that's from your past. Or whatever you learned when you were younger. What if you moved back to a place where your career started or something like that? Well, that's one thing, but that's not where you are today. It's what's really in your heart today. After what you might call a lifetime of gaining experience. And whether you're young or old, Pisces are able to absorb a lot of things, like absorb how other people feel, or they absorb sort of what's going on around them a lot. Pisces rules the ethers, and Pisces rules illusion, and it rules dreams, and it rules the mists and the fogs. And I don't know how Pisces do it. They can find their way through anything. And so Pisces, can you find your way home? Because now's the time. And that home is to who or what you really love in your heart. End of sentence. That's all. If you just find your way home. It might be that someone has been waiting a very, very long time for you to do that. And they're not from your past. Remember, the show is called New Horizons. And that is because something has to end. And it's going to be a very beneficial ending in all of our lives. If we are looking at endings right now, they are really going to turn out for the best. Because you couldn't get 3 better planets in the sign that rules endings, Cancer, than are there right now. The Sun, the new moon, and Jupiter in perfect alignment. When planets are all at the same degree within their orbits, there's no room There's no room for anything else to get through. Nothing can break that up. They're all conjuncting. That's what a conjunction is. And it's perfect. And even the degree, I was thinking about the degree of 4 degrees. Well, 4 is the 4 equal sides of a square, so that any way that you tip it, it's still going to land on the same amount of space and be stable. And these planets are all at the 4th degree. I'm thinking to myself, an ending is going to be beneficial for anybody, and that's what opens up the new horizon, and the new horizons are going to be amazingly stable. So you've got that wherever home is, and whoever it is, in truth, that's really in your heart. And this is representing a new horizon, and it's not with anybody that's in the past. It's with someone new. And your sign is extremely well favored for that, Pisces. So is Scorpio. So I would say, if you've been kidding yourself about anything, Neptune is your ruler. Neptune can rule dreams, but it rules kidding yourself too. If you've been kidding yourself or thinking, oh, tomorrow I'll get to it or something like that, no. An ending needs to happen, because a new horizon is on your doorstep, Pisces. All you got to do is open the door and walk in. It's there. So I hope you do that. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in, and thank you for the new subscribers. I hope you tell your friends about the show. And until then, I'll see you right back here next week for Starborn. Bye.